There's a few decent options for Game Week 6 captaincy. Let's analyse the data to find out who the best one is. First up as always is Mo Salah, he's playing Everton away in the Merseyside derby. Secondly is Erling Haaland, he plays Aston Villa away. And lastly is Harry Kane against Fulham, he's the only player on the shortlist to have the home advantage. Salah's the only player that benefits from being a midfielder, he gets an extra point per goal scored and a clean sheet point potential as well, you'll see that now on the stats. Even with 20% less points awarded per goal scored, Haaland's creeping up and he's catching Salah. Haaland actually has the best stats this season, but it's too small of a sample size to refer to, that's why I've gone for this and last season combined. It's worth noting that his Bundesliga stats have been converted with a 0.83 multiplier as well. Either way, based on a large enough sample size, Salah takes a lead on this section. Moving on to the set pieces, all three players are on penalty duties for their respective clubs. Something that puts Kane above his two competitors is the fact that he takes free kicks. Now let's take a look at the probability of each player scoring or assisting. These odds are based on the assumption that each player plays 90 minutes, we'll review the expected minutes later on in the video. If he was to play the full match, Haaland's got the best chance of scoring with 57%, Kane trails by 1% and Salah trails by 5%. However, he is the least creative player on the shortlist, he's got a 7% less chance of registering an assist than the other two players on the shortlist, they're on 31%. Kane's pretty consistent across the board, this gives him the best chance of returning. If we consider the amount of points per goal scored, it would actually be Salah that wins on the weighted odds. To be fair, Kane's got the highest probability of success, so I'll call it a draw between those two. The highest points projection this game week is Salah on Fantasy Football Scout with 6.9. Fantasy Football Fix completely disagree, they've got Salah on the lowest and the other two players in joint first place with 6.6. There's an even bigger dispute on Haaland, there's a full 1 point between them. There's no clear winner between the three of them, so let's average out the figures. Haaland's on the lowest with 6.1, Kane's on 6.45 and Salah edges it with 6.55. By comparing the opposition's defence, we can see that Haaland has the most difficult fixture in Villa away from home. Just like the players' stats earlier on, this is a large enough sample size of this and last season combined, and Fulham's championship numbers have been converted with a 1.6 multiplier. Salah's opponents Everton are the easiest to play, but not as much as the graph suggests. It's the expected goals conceded metric that's better at projecting the future goals conceded than the actual goals conceded themselves. I'd actually say it's Kane that's got the easiest fixture. Salah plays away from home in a hostile Merseyside derby, whilst Kane plays against Fulham with the home advantage. Before we conclude, let's carry out a quick risk assessment. All three players played midweek, they've had just under 3 days of resting time, which isn't ideal. To be fair, they're all in the same boat, and I know that Haaland only featured for 68 minutes midweek, but I'm not sure if he can cope with it. He's got a Champions League match a few days after this fixture. I might be wrong like I was last game week, but with those expected minutes being so low, I don't think it's worth the risk. There's not much to split the other two players. I'm going for Kane based on the reasons that I've included on the screen, but I wouldn't blame you for going for Salah either, both are viable options. Thanks for watching, I've got a team selection video coming out soon, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss it.